Hey guys, how you doing? It's Henry, Mowers and Blowers. This is my 14.5 overhead valve Craftsman LT1000 that I got for free from Megapic, Motherload 23. As you know, I need batteries, so I have this car battery hooked up to it just for testing. And yesterday we got this baby started. It runs well, except the carburetor was the carburetor that I got from my bag of parts, and so I just sort of cleaned it, I didn't go nuts with it. I thought I cleaned it pretty well, but while it runs good, it only runs well on choke. If you try to take it off a choke, it wants to stall. So the original carburetor on this thing, I just didn't mess with it because it looked so trashed, inside the rust chips and everything. So I decided that I was going to just try that one. So I put it in my ultrasonic cleaner just now. I did about 45 minutes of it. It's starting to look better, So I'm going to use carb cleaner and blow everything out in here. This carburetor also leaks. I've set up a little table here, actually. I don't usually do this for car cleans, but I figured if I'm gonna just do a carburetor, I can do a really good job if I have like a table. You know what I mean? So I'm going to Queens later. It's Friday. I know my videos are always a day or two later than what actually happens because I have to catch up. You know what I'm saying? I do so much during the day that I do maybe one project on one thing, and then later in the afternoon I'll do another one. And I don't want to put those two together because they may not, relate to each other. Like I may work on a tractor here and a snowblower there, so I want to do a separate snowblower video than the tractor. So I'll have one or two videos extra to release the next day. So sometimes it's the same day. Sometimes it's 1 or 2 days later. On my push snowblower, I was looking at the video, and it almost looked like the impeller wasn't turning, but the augers were spinning, but the impeller wasn't turning. So I thought maybe, a shear bolt just broke, and so only the auger was turning and not the impeller, right? I just went out to the back to look, and when I turn the impeller, right, with my hand, the auger turns, and there's no shear bolt. It's welded solid onto the shaft. So I think it's just the visual illusion of a camera that since it's spinning so fast, it looks like it's not spinning because, sometimes it looks like it's going backwards. You know what I'm talking about, like a wheel, going really fast. So that's fine. Also on my wood chipper, you remember at the end of my wood chipper video, I says, every time you take something apart and you got 1,000 screws and bolts and nuts all over the place, and then when you put everything back together again, you shouldn't have anything left over? Well, I had one bolt left over and I couldn't figure out where it was, right? And so, shout out to Jeff Tynes, who says, hey Henry, I think that bolt's on the bottom that holds the bracket to the frame, the gas tank bracket. That's exactly what it was. So I'm going to go and put that back. When I come back, I'm going to take that carburetor out, put it on my shop table here, if you will, and do a thorough cleaning. After we do a thorough cleaning, we'll put it back right back onto this machine again and see if it runs off a choke. I have a busy weekend. Football on Sunday. And Saturday, I may not see my mom because Oklahoma versus Texas. Red River rivalry. Horns down! I have a lot more room now in my shed because I got rid of that Toro Pro Line 32. So it's this bolt. I put it over here just so I wouldn't lose it. Actually fit there. Aha. Yep. There's an area here where I can just put it in. So I just tightened the bolt, and you know what? Oh, also that silicone I put underneath to cover that pinhole leak works the charm. I'm gonna try to start it just to see. Uh-oh. No gas in there, it leaked all out. Still some fumes. Run out of gas. This thing is a beast. So here we go. I've got the carburetor. I'm taking it out of the ultrasonic. There it is. I got the bowl with all the other parts in it. Got my torch tip cleaners with the bristles in it. I tried to take that main jet out. I always strip those things so hard. I even put penetrating oil in it and it still wouldn't work. So I'm just gonna clean it with my bristle brush here, because once you shove it in there, right, and pull it back out again, you hope that some of those bristles will get into the holes. Can help things out by spraying some carb cleaner or brake cleaner to loosen it up. Today I'm using brake parts cleaner from my friends over at Lucas Oil Products. Product placement. It's not product placement if you can't see it. Jesus. It's good when you spray it in one hole and it comes out the other way, some other place. If you spray it and it doesn't come out anywhere, it's still blocked, see? Oh, son of a gun. Good thing I'm wearing glasses. Would have got me in the eye. And then there's the hole for where the fuel mixture screw went. Look. Woo! Alright. I think that's pretty good. That was easy. Got my air compressor on. I'll blow out all these holes with my air compressor. That's pretty clean. Ooh, I think some nut is here to look at the track snowblower. Selling it as is for 75 bucks. Well, it wasn't the guy for the track drive snowblower. It was another guy who wanted to buy one of my old baggers. 20 bucks for a Honda bagger. Hey, I don't want it. Glad I could help somebody out, you know? He was like, oh yeah, I'm looking all over the place for this thing, and it's like 150 bucks on eBay used, and with shipping and all that, and it didn't really exactly fit. It was like off by half an inch on one side. But I told him, you know, you could just like cut those 2 plastic tabs off and it would fit, you know. He's like, yes, that's what I'll do. For 20 bucks, that's what I'll do. So you see, I feel good about it. I'm never going to use it. Watch, I get the exact Honda mower like next week and I need the bag. Yeah, that's what happens. But you know what? I don't anticipate it. When I see a Honda mower, I guess if it was free, I would take it anyway, but I would never go and buy one, you know, because they're great machines, don't get me wrong. I've had great ones, and I've had some lemons, too. I mean, I've torn apart many Honda, well, not many, maybe 2 or 3, that just wouldn't start. Tear apart the whole thing, and I just couldn't start it. It just won't start. I know you guys know what I mean. There has been that instance where that just happened, and it's just terrible. Terrible. So you know what? Since I had bad experience with it, I really don't want to mess with a Honda anymore, unless it was free. Who am I kidding? All my stuff is free. Anyway, so the seat, not the seat, the needle to this thing is not as good as that needle, the one on the carburetor that leaks right now. So I think I'm gonna just, you know, match parts up to make one really good one. You know what I'm saying? I mean, its seat's okay, but it's not as good as the other one. And these parts, they did come out kind of clean, pretty clean. I'm not a really big believer of the ultrasonic cleaner. honestly, I think if you just use your hands and some parts cleaner, you do a better job, you know. And also, there's no waiting. You know, you gotta wait around for this stuff to work. You know, while that does look pretty clean, you know, look at this bowl. This bowl sucks. You know what? I'm gonna take that other carburetor off and bring it over here. Take the parts off of it. Once you've taken this carburetor off a few times, it's actually pretty easy. Pretty easy to take them off. You know, the whole thing is just held on by these two studs. You know, and you can easily rotate them. It's getting the damn hose off. It's a problem. That's one stud off. And the linkages, the little wire. Gotta be careful not to break it. Choke lever. There we go. All right, so I'm gonna take parts off of this one. So this bowl is cleaner. So I cleaned it, you know. So I'll use that bowl, this carb. I'll use this needle. Not that float. Shake it, make sure there's no gas in it so it weighs it down. I'll use this pin. So this pin didn't come with this one, so maybe I shouldn't use it. Oh, it fits. Does it fit better though? Oh, it does. Let's see. You know what? It doesn't seat very well. It's going to leak. It does leak, you know, because I'm blowing air, right? And it allows me to blow air through it. So that's no good. This needle sucks. While I said this needle is better, I don't think it is. So let me use this original needle and see. Because honestly, just to the naked eye, I think this needle is bad. But that one, while it looks good, just try it and it doesn't work. It allows air to go through, which causes it to leak. So this is the original needle. How about that? See? Can you believe that? The original needle's better. Incredible. That seems to work pretty well. I could use any one of these solenoids to put them on. You know what? I'm going to have to clean this up a little bit. Or clean this one up a little bit. Whichever. This one already has the valve cut off. But this gasket's kind of yucky. I'm going to have to swap the gaskets. Well, you know what? I'm just going to cut this one off. Cutting the valve. I hate them. Nine out of 10 valves have problems. So you don't want problems with your starting? Just put a fuel shutoff in your fuel line and cut this damn valve off. You can never get a really clean cut, you know, so sometimes I'll take like a my grinder and just do away with this. You know what? I have a file. Let's get a file. And just smooth it out. I mean, this will be fine, you know what I'm saying? But I just am crazy like that, so. It has the inclination of going in. It wants to go in, but I just want to make it at least not sticking up that much. This will be fine, I hope. If it doesn't start, we'll know that this is sticking up too much, but I doubt it. If that had a better gasket. This one has a better gasket. I don't know where I got this from, but it's thin and it fits in here. Or I thought it fit in there. Fit on the other one. Fit on the tool. You know what? I feel pretty good about it. Put the fuel mixture jet in there. I screwed it in all the way and then backed it out 1.5. That's the setting that you want so that you're able to adjust if you wanted to. So I'm gonna install this. So I was just gonna put it on, but I figured I'd let it roll in case some of you guys have never put a carburetor like this on before. I wouldn't be a good host if I didn't show everybody how to do it, right? So the little wire here, I know it doesn't seem like it does anything, but trust me, it does. Just because it's off by like that 1.5 millimeters or something to the right of the big hole, it does do something. And sometimes over the years, you should put the choke thing fast, because you have to rotate this. It does create a slight bit of tension, and sometimes it may alleviate your surging. The only reason why I know that is because I've tried it. So that's it. You make sure you have a gasket here, because the seal between here and here is very important. I found that out the hard way too. Lots and lots of time trying to figure it out, and in the end it was just a gasket that had a leak, you know. It has to be a good gasket, because the seal between the carburetor and the intake manifold has to be like awesome. The seal between the carburetor and the air cleaner doesn't have to be all that great. But the seal between the manifold and the block, the seal between the manifold and the carburetor has to be airtight. Because any air that gets in there is going to mix the air-fuel ratio and throw it off. And any ratio that's off is going to cause it to surge or not run correctly. So even though these studs, you actually kind of have to make it tight so that it creates a good seal. This is 5/16 wrench. Get the studs. Now this is a plastic manifold. The older ones had a cast iron manifold. I don't really think there's much of a difference, to be honest with you. So, choke, throttle. The only thing I could left to do is just, remember, this tank is not even on here, you know. There's gas in it, and I just did this hose to test. I'm gonna put if this works right, I'm gonna put a fuel filter and a fuel shutoff on this line here. So I'm gonna release the hounds and hope this damn thing doesn't leak. I'm uncrimping the dent I put into the hose from having this clipped on here all night, because the original one was leaking. I wonder if fuel's getting in here. Because look, on this hose, I see a little pinhole here, and I don't see any gas. It's definitely getting gas. It's not leaking, so that's really good. I can see a little bit of gas coming over here. That's why I want to put the hose clamp on. Might have to cut that hose because this one over here is bad. So I'm gonna start it, see what happens. Choke. Huh. Doesn't seem to have much juice. Let me go check the battery out. The battery had 12.05 volts. You need 12.4 or 5 for it to start. So I've got my charger on there on engine start mode. Seems like there's a lot of compression. I want to know whether or not maybe too much gas was leaking and it got into the crankcase. I'm going to take the spark plug out and blow out whatever's in there. It's an NGK spark plug. They're like $7 a piece. Japanese. Wet. It's got Earl in it. Let's see if anything comes out of here. It just cleans a little bit from the Earl and the gas. Let's see if anything comes out of here when I blast it. 3, 2, 1. Holy cow! See that? It's the reason why we couldn't start it before, because it was full of gas. Fuel shut off is very important. So I'm just putting the spark plug back in again, and then we'll try it. Okay, put the spark plug back. We're going to try it now. I'm adjusting the battery. It doesn't seem to be getting any juice. Still not turning. I'm gonna check the battery again. That battery sucks so bad, it's not even charging. It's running great, and it's off choke. Low idle, the charge is at 13.1, so I know that the stator is charging. That is awesome, man. This engine runs nice. I'm not going to run this very long without the cover. I'm going to put the cover on now. So as promised, I am going to put a fuel shutoff. I've clamped this out. So I'm going to put the fuel filter here. One of these things. Now these things are cheap. Got like 10, like $5 or something. But I had to wait a month to get it because it was from China. Whatever. I don't think it makes any difference which way it goes. It's just a mesh shield, mesh piece in between. And this just basically keeps, you know, debris from the gas tank. You know, you're filling up the gas. Leaves are falling in the fall. Some leaves fall into the gas tank. They break down from the gas over days. Chips go into here. I mean, if something falls in there anyway, it could block the hole that lets the gas come out too. You know, you can't avoid that as long as you fill up your gas and make sure nothing falls in there. But this is to ensure that no debris goes into your carburetor. So now we got the fuel filter in here, right? So I want to put a fuel shutoff and put it right around here. Make sure you cut it nice at a right angle. Same thing. Off, on. Put a clamp through there. Clamp through there. There we go. Release the hounds on that one. Uncrimp it. I have to secure this spec on here. I had a gasket here. I don't know where it is. I needed that gasket. Runs pretty good, huh? Pretty stoked. I don't know whether or not it's because I manually cleaned the original carburetor on this, or did the ultrasonic help out, you know? You really can't tell. I don't like the ultrasonic. I mean, it's helped me maybe twice, you know, to get something going that wasn't going. But I'm glad I have it, just, you know, as long as the end result, right? As long as I get it running as the end result, who cares, right? I can believe all I want about whether or not it worked or not, you know? But anyhow, I'm going to put the shroud back on and bore you with it. So, guy came over. He bought my track drive, you know, as is. I actually started it up, and it ran. I almost feel like I shouldn't have gotten rid of it. But you know what? There's something's up with the drive chain. The sprocket actually was on the wrong end, which is really weird, you know. But you know what? Not my problem anymore. Somebody else's headache. I feel pretty good about letting it go because honestly, I just have too much stuff to do. Anyway, he was a cool dude. He was he's a firefighter, FDNY. So we spent like half an hour talking about the olden days, you know. I was telling him, I actually worked 9/11, which is one of the reasons why I'm not a cop anymore. It's because while I've seen tons of stuff on the highways over the years, you know, seen a little girl in a car accident on the highway. She was hung up on the side divider of the highway, impaled. It was terrible to see. Her spleen was hanging out. I mean, you know, it was rough, you know. But even that didn't bother me as much as 9/11 did. I'll tell you a story. You guys will let me. I was working the pile, and so we had these cadaver dogs, And FD, we all had whistles, so whenever we saw anything, you know, body parts or whatever, we blow the whistle and everybody had to stop work, you know, because you can hear things. And EMS and FD would come, cadaver dogs would come. And so I bent down to pick up, I saw a hand outside the rubble, you know, so I thought maybe I had a body. So I bent down and I picked up the, touched the hand to try to lift it, and it was just a hand. So that did something to me, I guess. And while I never brought that stuff home, you know, the stories and stuff, you know, I wanted to keep work away from family, I couldn't stop talking about 9/11, you know. I mean, I don't know anybody who didn't talk about 9/11. 9/11 was one of the worst experiences of my life. And so I had 8.5 years. I had another baby coming. So I just said, you know what, I'm gonna go do something else. And that's when I joined the airlines to travel the world, you know. And that was a much more well-grounded job and career, if you will. I enjoyed the airlines a lot. I've been around the world several times, been to every destination. You know, traveling, the camaraderie between the crews, pilots, flight attendants, ground personnel, people you meet in different stations around the world. You know, you make. I'm friends with the majority of the people that I worked with, even now today. You know, on Facebook. But anyway, so I'm gonna put that. I'm gonna put that cover on for the starter. So I put the cowling on, the air cleaner on, and the Earl is pretty good, you know, not great, but pretty good. It's up to the add line, so I've got like half of SAE30. I'm just going to top it off. You know what? There's more than that. That's all I needed. I don't want to over flood it. Besides, I don't even know if this thing drives yet. I may have to remove this engine for another application. But for me to get an engine that runs pretty well, it's awesome. Right on the money. Look at that. So, I can't sit on this right now because the battery is so big. But I'm going to try to see if this thing moves. You know what I mean? I know you know what I mean. I don't know how I'm going to do it without sitting, see? Battery, you can't even move the battery because the wires are just right there, you know? Can't put the seat down, can't turn, but I want to see if the transmission works. I have a feeling that I could get into some trouble if I try to do this and get hurt. Or this thing goes by itself and runs off somewhere, you know, so maybe I won't try it. I want to, though. You know what? If I want to, I'm going to do it. So I'm going to start it and put it in gear and let go of that. course, I have to run out of gas when I'm testing something. You know, I don't know, guys. I think the transmission's messed up. I gotta get a new battery for this. I gotta go to Walmart and get a new battery. I need to get like 2 or 3 of them. Unfortunately, I don't have cores for all of them. I only have 1 core. So I'm just gonna have to spend the extra $5. That's it. Anyway, so that was the episode for today. How we swapped out the carburetor with another one. And we put the other one in the, well, the original one. We put the original one in the ultrasonic cleaner. And the ultrasonic cleaner was soaking for about 45-50 minutes. We took the needle from the... No, we used mostly everything. Oh, the bowl. We used the bowl from the old one. Everything else was original. We put it on. Runs like a champ. I just need to get a new battery, and we put everything back, and engine runs really well, which is the whole part of this. Is that to make it worthwhile is I got a working engine. Whether or not the rest of this thing works as it should, we only should hope for the best. But I do need to get a new battery. But anyway, thanks for joining me along and listening to my stories, and I'll see you guys next time on Mowers and Blowers.
See you guys next time on Mowers and Blowers.
Hey guys, support my channel, buy a sticker. Also follow me on Instagram at Mowers Blowers. Check out my website, mowersblowers.com. See you guys on my next project. Have a great day.